and welcome to Ghosts of Dufferin County and Beyond. I'm Marianne Kennedy, your host, and today we have a special guest in the studio with us who's going to be talking to us about her spiritual journey and her work, but also about a really fantastic organization and awards show for the spiritual community right here in Ontario, Canada. Welcoming to the show now, I have Amber Price, psychic medium, soul coach, and speaker. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Thank you, Marianne, for having me.
Absolutely. I'm thrilled to have you out here. Tell us a little bit about you and about your spiritual practice.
Absolutely. So I have been professionally working in this practice for about just under 10 years, I think about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And then before that, just, of course, my lifestyle and picking up all of that energy and messages along the way, but professionally for that point. And I started out doing sessions for clients and readings, and then it's kind of evolved into what you mentioned about the award ceremony.
Yeah.
And the Sapphire Association,
which we're going to talk about shortly.
Yes.
Yeah. What type of readings do you do, Amber?
So I do a lot of soul coaching readings, and to me that means that I'm connecting to somebody's soul and really looking forward into maybe things that have happened and transpired through their life's purpose so far, and what they want to do moving forward, and how they can kind of get there, as well as of course psychic readings, so future guidance, and then of course my most prized possession one, which is close to my heart, is the medium readings, which is connecting to people with their loved ones that have passed.
Yeah, we're on the same page with all of that stuff.
Perfect, right? Yes.
Now listen, it's always fascinating to me what brings people to this work, because so many of us come from different backgrounds and different circumstances. It's so varied. So maybe tell us a little bit, what brought you to this work professionally to begin with?
It's always a journey, right? Because I set out to do healthcare. That's what I had done, was healthcare and then HR, operations management. Those were the things that I was like, I'm focused on getting to that.
Okay.
And then along the way, of course, working in healthcare, you pick up stuff, right?
You definitely do.
So, like I said, maybe about 8 to 10 years ago, I started getting more of a presence and more of, getting messages, and it was undeniable. Like at that point, it was, okay, I either have to deal with this and decide to take a leap and go into this. And I kind of had like a little mini intervention. One day, the universe worked in a mysterious way. My father and 2 separate friends, so none of those 3 people were connected, all phoned me and said, Amber, I don't know what you're doing, but you should probably try to do medium readings. And it's like, who cares? Just take a leap and try. You can always go back to healthcare or management or whatever.
Wow, is that ever fascinating?
Right? And so I was like, okay, this is a sign if I haven't seen one before, right? And so I did. I just had to do it. My health was telling me I wasn't in the right alignment. And then I had those 3 people. And so I just took the leap and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a break from what I know and I've been doing. And I just started seeing the clients, and it just snowballed from there.
Okay. And did you do any formal learning? Did you work with a mentor or anything like that?
I didn't. I read a book.
Okay.
I read a book, and I just love her. The author that wrote the book, it resonated with me. Of course, and as you know, you can read bits of pieces of every book and take pieces from it.
That's right, yeah.
And so when I did read it, it was because my husband had given it to me for a Christmas gift, because I said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Like, I really need to know more about this. Am I normal? like what's happening to me? Yeah. And so I read the book in like 2 days, like Boxing Day and the next day, and I was like, had that aha moment.
Yeah.
And from there, I just kind of learned who is Amber Price, and I really focused on, and maybe I was wrong doing it this way, but I needed to know how I was doing it. So I really kind of was isolated in, who else was in the industry. I didn't even know at that point.
Yeah.
I was so isolated. And then I felt confident a couple years in. I was like, okay, I know how to interpret my own messages. I know when I'm feeling something. And that's when I started to branch out and really get involved in Spiritual Niagara and all of the beautiful souls that are involved in there.
Yeah.
And then, leading me to you and all these other wonderful things.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Spiritual Niagara as well.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating that, you talk about, after a couple of years, you really felt like you understood what you were doing here. And it really is a learning process.
Oh, yeah.
And we could do the learning formally, and we can do it, and most of the learning, in fact, so much of the most in-depth learning happens just between us and spirit, not with working with a teacher, not working with a mentor, even though that sort of stuff is important often along the way too. Now, you are this brilliant heart and mind behind the Spiritual Excellence Halo Awards, which I was so thrilled to be a part of last year. Now, tell us a little bit about the Halo Awards.
Well, first, I was so happy that you were there. Like, it was wonderful, and you were a speaker, and it was just beautiful, and everybody had so much great feedback about it. So thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so excited because I don't even know. It's one of those things that it occurs to you, or you get a message and then it's like, you have to put this together. And then I started like sitting on it for a little bit and thinking, how does it look like? What does it look like?
Yes.
And how do I incorporate, the professionals coming in and speaking, and so then the people that are attending can leave with education. Because I find, and this is one of my biggest missions, is to educate people, because I don't want them to associate things with maybe like, I want them to have all of the information as much as I can give, and then connecting others that are able to provide that information. So it turned out to be, I could see having guest speakers that were very educated and experienced in their industry. And then we needed something to acknowledge the work that they were doing. And I remember sitting in one of our, Ontario hospitals, and I saw, if you have a favorite nurse, vote for this nurse. And I thought, wow, it really is. There's awards and acknowledgement for the work people do in every industry.
This is true.
Yeah. And so I was like, there's my sign, like literally on the wall. There's another sign. So I went home and I just started writing it up. And I put it out, a couple feelers out, and I was like, who would be interested in this? And people were like, I am interested. This is insane. Like, we should do something like this. So I researched a little bit, and there's some other things that are similar, but not really, my vision. And even if it was like, okay, this is great. Obviously, we're in line with what we're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
And I waited until about May, and I put it out there for a September. And I know, and I thought, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing to me? Because this is like cutting it close.
Yeah.
Oh, we had like 14,000 connections in that short amount of time.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What I really love about this work and what you've been doing with the Halo Awards is that, for psychics and mediums, we come from a history of really solid, legitimate people, but we also come from a history of people that weren't so solid and legitimate. And so I always say, when I'm working with someone or giving some wisdom to someone who's seeking, someone to read for them, or a spiritual mentor of some sort, is, get a review of that person, get a recommendation, look at testimonials that have been published that are unpaid, just real, like, voluntary testimonials about someone's experience with a spiritual practitioner. And so what I love and loved initially straight away about the Halo Awards is that this was based on people's, testimonials for those of us in the industry that are public enough to be seen.
That's right.
And so it allows those who might not be sure, is this person legitimate? Is this a good match for me? Having something set up like this really shows the community that, whether you've won an award or not, or you're just nominated.
That's right.
It shows that you have a legitimate practice, that you're heart-based, and that you're really of service to the community. And I just find that fascinating.
Absolutely. And that was exactly, a piece of that is, I want the connection. I want everybody kind of coming together with that solidarity. And I wanted people to be able to know who's credible, who you can trust. And of course, it is very true. And with any industry, there are people that are very reputable, and there's people that are not as reputable. And so for us to have this kind of forum to be able to come together, it really was good. And there has been so much positive feedback, not only from, clients that are existing or potential clients, but also the practitioners as well. And I feel like I read an article in, I think it was the New York Times, and they had said, psychic mediums are the new life coaches. They're the new people that are wanting to. Did you read that?
I didn't know.
It was so fascinating, because I thought, that is bang on, because you're looking deep, you're looking within, and that's the most important piece, is look within. And if you're doing it authentically, if we do this authentically, you can't go wrong, right?
Yeah, no, you got it. Now, you mentioned Spiritual Niagara.
Yes.
And last year at the Spiritual Excellence Halo Awards, there were many folks from Spiritual Niagara there, and it's quite an organization. Tell us a little bit about that, because I know you're a part of that, right?
I am. I'm a member there. And I, again, after, making myself stay away from everybody just so I know what I could do. And then finding Kathy Upper, which is the chief visionary of Spiritual Niagara. And she was looking for reputable people years ago. And this is where this came from, was, how do I find you? Because most of it is like, oh, did you meet the lady down the street because she does this, right? Yeah. Back then. And so she said, I need a one-stop shop. I need to know people are around, and I didn't have to spend hours looking for people. And then turned it into this beautiful organization of people just really getting together. And she offers speaker series and, you know, evenings with spirit.
Amazing.
And she does a lot of fundraisers for Out of the Cold and stuff. So I was really drawn to her because I could see her soul, and she was very authentic. And so I'm, you know, partnering with her for a few things coming up.
Is there some contact information for Spiritual Niagara? Is there a website that our viewers can look up?
Yes, they have a website, spiritualniagara.ca.
Okay, great.
And they're on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Now, moving on, Amber, another one of your amazing creations is the Sapphire Association, which I'm also a part of, and I love being a part of that community, especially when, you know, our geographic regions are a little bit separate.
Yes.
Tell us, what is the Sapphire Association?
So the Sapphire Association is to bring people together from all industries, so professional, creative, spiritual, and holistic communities, and really empower the women that are behind these industries, because, you know, women are a force to be reckoned with nowadays, because, you know, really we're present in those industries and we're leaders of those industries. So to acknowledge and to collaborate and really just grow and support each other. So I was, again, just having this thought that came to me in a meditation, and that's what it was how can I get the entrepreneurs to get together? It kind of stemmed from, I had a lot of questions around, how do I start a business and how do I do that? My education in HR and the operations management background really allowed me to be able to answer those questions. And so that's kind of where it came from. I was like, if I can get more entrepreneurs together within the different industries and support each other and teach each other, then more people can get involved. And so I offered, you know, this open for everybody to become a member, and you can just simply go onto the website and find out more information.
It's amazing. I mean, what you're doing is you're making connections.
Yes.
And we need more and more connections.
Yes.
And so what a brilliant mind to bring that together. It sounds very, you know, spirit inspired, very much in the sort of vein of community connectedness, and you know, we need folks that take that as a charge to get us all connected. So
thank you.
We're you know, everyone is so grateful for that as just an opportunity that you came with and that you went with, because you know, it took your energy and your time to do that, and it really makes us all sort of better as a result.
It was, you know, and to be honest, Marianne, like everybody pulled together, everybody had pieces of this, and even, you know, just feeling the energy in the room when all of these beautiful souls are together. Like, did you feel that buzz? Like,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you right there. We're going to go for a quick break and we'll be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.